Hello friends. In this session we will see introduction to medical parasitology. So the objectives of today's session is we will see the basic terminology, then we will see the life cycle of parasites, then classification, and in the end we will see few of the common parasites which are of extreme medical importance. So if we start with terminology, parasite is a living organism that acquires some of the basic nutritional requirement through its intimate contact with the another living organism. So when we talk about the parasitology, it would be study of such parasites. So parasitology is study of and medical implication of parasites that infects human being. So broadly looking, all bacteria, virus, everything is parasite. But here when we talk about parasitology, we would be studying the parasites which are eukaryote in nature. So we will be studying unicellular eukaryotic parasites that are known as protozoa and multicellular parasites that is known as helminths. So, and that it can be even divided into two parts, which is known as endoparasite as well as that is which lives inside body, and ectoparasite which lives outside the body. If we see the example like Plasmodium falciparum is an example of endoparasite, while Pediculus or the body louse is an example of ectoparasites. So this is an example of endoparasite where you can see the ring form of falciparum. Here I just point out, this is inside RBC, this is ring form, this is the gametocyte of the falciparum. These all are endoparasites. And the head louse or the body louse, these are the ectoparasites which are mostly arthropods in nature. If we see where the parasites are situated in the classification system, if I talk about the Whittaker's 5 kingdom classification, this is the well known fact. The basic is the Monera, which takes care of the prokaryotes, all bacteria. Then it would be eukaryotes, in which the unicellular are known as Protista, and there are 3 branches out of that, that is Animalia, fungi and the plant. Now if we talk about the parasitology, we, as I have earlier talked, that it can be divided into protozoa and the metazoa or the helminth. So protozoa are the unicellular eukaryotic organism which are parasitic to human being and produces various diseases. The examples are Plasmodium, Entamoeba histolytica. These all are the protozoa in nature, while helminths are the multicellular organism. So various worms like tapeworms and threadworms and roundworm, hookworm, all these are the known as helminths. So that is helminth, and they are situated in the Animalia, which is a multicellular eukaryotic organism. So this is Giardia, which is example of protozoa, while this is roundworm, that is an example of helminth. So some of the important terms of parasitology, the most important is host on which parasite is lives, and mostly when we talk about the medical parasite, it causes the harm to the host. In that, host can be divided into 2 parts. One is known as definitive host and other is known as intermediate host. The difference is the organism in which adult worm or the sexually mature stage of the parasite lives. So where sexual multiplication occurs is the definitive host, while the other host in which either there would be it lives and development, but there would be no sexual reproduction. The example, with example you can understand it very clearly. If you know, you must be knowing the example of malaria very well. So malaria, the parasite which causes malaria is Plasmodium. Now Plasmodium species passes through two different hosts. The one host is the human being and the other host is the mosquito. During these two, out of these two parasite, two hosts, its sexual reproduction occurs in the mosquito. You can see that zygote, here there is fertilization and zygote would be formed. So in case of Plasmodium, for Plasmodium, mosquito becomes definitive host and human being where there is development but it is an asexual development. So that becomes intermediate host. So I think it is clear. Okay, sometime it may be there are some parasites where sexual phase is not there and it produces only asexual reproduction in both the host. In such cases we would consider human being as definitive host, but otherwise we'll see that the adult worm or the sexually active form where sexual reproduction occur, that host is the definitive host. There are some other hosts like paratenic host where there is no development or multiplication of the parasite occur. Accidental host, which is not there in the routine cycle but accidentally it comes. For example, there is one worm like Echinococcus granulosus which causes hydatid cyst in the human being. So human is basically accidental host for E. granulosus because that is the end of the life cycle of that parasite. The actual cycle of E. granulosus occurs between dog, which is definitive host, and sheep, which is the intermediate host, and the cycle continues. Accidentally it may infect human being, it may produce disease in human, but that is the dead end for the parasite which is not in its normal biological life cycle. That's why human in case of hydatid cyst is an accidental host. Some other term is reservoir host, as its name suggests it is the source of infection to other. There may be some amplifier host where the parasite would increase its number and it would produce the disease to other. Then there is vector. Vector is any living carrier, usually arthropod, that transplant the pathogenic organism from infected to non-infected host. Again, vector can be divided into two parts. One is the biological vector, where it is involved actively. For example, in malaria, we all know that the human being gets malaria, the infection of malaria by the bite of female Anopheles mosquito. While sometime it may be mechanical vector. For example, housefly. It sits on some fecal material and from that it flies back to the some food item. So it would take the pathogen from that fecal material and it would transfer it on the food item. When that person consumes that contaminated food, that person would develop the disease. So here it would not help parasite to grow inside them. It is just mechanically transferring from one place to another place. So that is mechanical vector. Well, what happens in case of malaria? The Plasmodium will pass its some of the life cycle, its sexual reproduction inside the mosquito. So that is known as biological vector. Now there is another term which is known as infection and infestation. There is a very simple difference. So when any infection occurs, the pathogen enters in the body and it multiplies inside the body. Its number would increase. While when we call about infestation, then the number of organism which has entered, it would remain constant. For example, the roundworm. So number of roundworm would be dependent on the number of the roundworm egg which is swallowed by that person. That many organism would develop. It would not increase in number after entry. So that would be called as infestation. When like body louse, it enters and the same number would remain. Now we come to the life cycle of parasite. It is divided into two parts. One is known as simple life cycle, where only one host is involved. It is much easy to understand. So the example is like threadworm. What happens in threadworm? That worm is there in the intestine. It lays egg. Just a minute. So in simple life cycle, I am just showing you. This is the adult worm of the E. vermicularis. It lays egg in the perianal skin of the person. Now that causes itching. So the person tends to itch that area. During that itching, that eggs would come in the nail bed and in the hand of the person. When that person eats something, the egg would be swallowed back, reaches to intestine, and again it develops into adult worm. So that is simple. Only one host is involved, and that is human being. So very easy to understand. That is known as simple life cycle. And the other type of life cycle is complex life cycle, where more than one hosts are involved. Okay? So for example, this is schistosoma, which is an example of trematode, where I just show you. The adult worm is this Schistosoma hematobium, male and female worm. It after sexual reproduction, its eggs are excreted in the urine. So that urine would go to, when it goes to water, it would convert itself into Miracidia. Then it would infect some of the snails. So remaining development would occur in the snail. Then from snail some other form would be coming out. From that Cercaria would be coming out, and that Cercaria is there in the water. When person comes in contact with water, through that skin the Cercaria would again enter in the human being and convert itself into adult worm. So it needs more host. Sometime more than one host also may be required. So that is complex, when more than one host would be required to complete the life cycle. Now we see the actual disease burden of the various parasitic infections. It is a common cause of morbidity and mortality in human being, and one of the top killers of the people, like hookworm, roundworm, malaria. These are the common diseases. If we see one by one, so on the topmost position it is a plasmodium, which causes malaria, and it produces almost 1 million death per year. Especially in the developing country, malaria is still there. In developed country, they have controlled malaria very well. But in the temperate region where mosquito are there, malaria is one of the top killer. Then the second portion, various helminths which is transmitted by the soil, by the food and water, or sometime through the skin, like roundworm, whipworm, hookworm, etc. That produces various problems in the human being as well as even death. Clear? Then schistosoma, though it is not common in India, schistosoma, but that also causes significant number of death. Then filaria, which is the common disease which you must have seen, elephantiasis, the swollen limb. That is not fatal, but it produces many disabilities. Then trypanosoma cruzi and the trypanosoma brucei, which is seen in the South America and the Africa respectively, that produces the many deaths. And leishmania, which produces kala azar. In India, it is common in the eastern part and Bihar and all that. So that is also one of the significant cause of death as well as suffering. Now, if we come to the classification, as I have said earlier, they can be classified into two broad groups. One is known as protozoa, which are unicellular, and the other is known as helminths or the metazoa, which are multicellular. In protozoa, they are classified in various types like Sarcomastigophora, Celiophora and Epicomplexa. Basically, this type is based on its ability of movement. Those who are moving with pseudopodia like amoeba, entamoeba histolytica. Some have cilia, means some flagella-like projection which helps them to move. Epicomplexa, that does not move but that would go inside some host cell like plasmodia. So these are various ways, and these are example. Amoeba is that would move by the pseudopodia. The example is entamoeba histolytica. Flagellates like giardia, hemoflagellates like trypanosoma. Epicomplexa, the example is plasmodia, which goes, for example, plasmodia goes inside RBC. Ciliates like Balantidium coli, which are small cilia-like structure. Microspora, like Isospora, belly and Cryptosporidium, etc. are the example of this. Now we come to so these all were the example of the protozoa, unicellular. Now we come to the higher organism, which is known as metazoa, where tissues are formed. They are divided into two broad groups. One is known as platyhelminth. Platy means they are flat, and the other is the cylindrical. They are known as nemathelminths or the nematodes. In platyhelminths, again there are two parts. One is known as cystode, which are commonly known as tapeworms because they are flat and long like a tape, measuring tape. And the other is trematode, which is known as leaf-like organism. And the other is nematode, which is a cylindrical organism. The example of cystode is the tinea, which is tapeworm. Trematode is Fasciola, Schistosoma, and example of nematodes are Ascaris lumbricoid, that is roundworm, Ankylostomma duodenale, that is hookworm, etc. So this is tapeworm, very long flat worm. This is trematode, which is a leaf-like, or they are also commonly known as flukes. Schistosoma is also example of trematodes. And this is nematode, Ascaris lumbricoid, very common organism. Elephantiasis is also the example of the nematodes, but it is tissue nematode. So with this we finish today's session. In summary, you have to see that parasitology is the study of eukaryotic parasitic structure which produces the disease. We divide them into two broad classes. One which is unicellular are the protozoa. One which is multicellular is known as helminth. Helminth are again classified into three broad groups, that is cystodes, that is tapeworms, trematodes, that are flukes, and nematodes, that are worms like roundworm and all that. So, and various systems are involved by the parasite. So we will learn individual parasite with their respective systems. So with this we finish today's session. Thank you very much for attending.